Hundreds of thousands from around the world have gathered in St. Peter's Square for the election of the new Pope.
Nearly 900 years have elapsed since St. Malachy predicted the arrival of the final Pope.
So far, only black smoke has arisen from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel.
The entire world is waiting and watching for the arrival of Petrus Romanus.
In the extreme persecution of the Holy Roman Church, there will sit Peter the Roman, who will pasture his sheep in many tribulations. And when these things are finished, the city of 7 hills will be destroyed, and the terrible judge will judge his people. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone.
Petrus Romanus, the final Pope, is here.
Malachy was a reforming Catholic prelate born in Armagh in 1094. On a visit to Rome, he was struck by a vision. Before him appeared a series of Latin phrases identifying the 111 popes who would rule the Catholic Church until the end of time.
He uttered 111 Latin mottos, which are supposed to represent the nature, the name of destiny, or the coat of arms of every pope until Judgment Day.
Many of the phrases are considered too precise to be the results of chance. John the 23rd, the 107th pope in the prophecy, is referred to as Pastor et Nortam, priest and sailor. Before becoming pope in 1958, he was the Patriarch of Venice. Paul VI is Flos Floram, flower among flowers. His coat of arms is a lily among lilies.
John Paul II, who is called De Labora Solis in the prophecies, which means the sun's eclipse, the sun's labor. He is the only pontiff on the list that was born on an eclipse and later entombed during an eclipse.
And the 111th, the final pope in the prophecy?
The Gloria Olivae, from the glory of the olive. That's the current Benedict XVI.
At the end of the list, Malachy is said to have uttered a final doom-laden phrase, this one unnumbered.
During the final persecution, the seat of the Holy Roman Church will be occupied by Peter the Roman, who will feed the sheep in many tribulations, after which the 7-hilled city will be destroyed, and the terrible judge will judge his people. The end.
Is Malachy describing the end of the Catholic Church, or the end of the world? Is Peter the Roman the last pope who will follow the current pontiff, Benedict XVI?
Revelation 17 stands out as the most important of these prophecies, for its wordage will reveal how close we are to the end of the world and the second coming. This vital chapter speaks of a chronological succession of 8 kings. The 8th king's arrival will be the last of these kings, and his end will signal the end of the world and the second coming. Unlocking the identity of the first 7 kings and determining which king we are currently living under, we will then know, roughly, how close to the second coming we are. Let us now go straight to the study of Revelation 17.
And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, and 1 is. And the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth, and is of the seven, and goeth into perdition.
The 7 heads equal 7 kings. After the 7th king, an 8th will arise from the bottomless pit. And on February 11, 1929, the Lateran Treaty was signed between Italy and the Holy See. The Italian state recognized the sovereignty of the Catholic Church and regarded the Church as an independent member of the international community. By this agreement, the Church obtained an independent state in Rome with an area of about 44 hectares, or 108.5 acres. The Pope became recognized as the absolute monarch over the Vatican. In 1929, the commencement of the title King, expressed in verse 10 of Revelation 17, was given to the Bishop of Rome for the very first time. In 1929, the count of the 7 kings of Revelation 17 commenced. This timeline of kings since the 1929 Lateran Treaty reveals the astounding prophetic news that we have been living under the reign of the 7th king since 2005, when King Pope Benedict XVI acceded to the throne of the Vatican City-State. However, his reign is destined to be of a short duration.
And when he cometh, he must continue a short space.
Let us move on to the 8th king, who will be last pope. The 8th king, Pope, will arise from the bottomless pit.
The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition.
The 8th king, Pope, will not be human, but rather a fallen angel. The prophecy contains another important key in determining the identity of the 8th king. The 8th and final king will also be one of the 7 kings.
The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. And there are 7 kings, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition.
Foretold in prophecy, the reign of the 7th king Pope is indeed coming to an end.
The Vatican has announced that Pope Benedict XVI will step down on February 28th, citing his old age. The 85-year-old will become the first head of the Catholic Church to resign from the post in nearly 6 centuries. Let's get more on this now from RT's Tom Barton, live in the studio for us here. Tom, he was only appointed in 2005. What on earth's going on? Why his resignation now?
Well, Kerry, yeah, a real shock. I think the small army of journalists and Pope watchers, as it were, in Rome, even they have been taken aback by this sudden announcement today. However, big questions will be asked in the coming weeks as the new Pope is being chosen about who should lead the Church and about the future of the Catholic Church in this great time of troubles, as the outgoing Pope has said himself.
Big questions indeed. OK, Tom Barton, thanks a lot for that for now. Thank you.
A sign from God. Just hours after the Pope announced his surprise resignation, the heavens over Rome opened and the top of St. Peter's Basilica was struck by lightning. As the sky was lit up by the huge bolt, it led to speculation as to whether Benedict XVI's boss was less than happy with the news. The apparent divine intervention came as the 85-year-old pontiff sent shockwaves through the church on Monday after announcing his retirement, the first pope to do so in 700 years, saying he no longer had the mental or physical strength to carry on.
Israel has just granted the Vatican control of the upper room and the throne of David, or David's tomb. Now, Pope Benedict XVI was granted this opportunity by the nation of Israel, but he will never be there. He will never go and sit on that throne, but the new Pope will. The new Pope will have a seat at the upper room and at the tomb of David. And we will wait and see what that means as it relates to Bible prophecy. Now, let me read to you what's going to be going on. Well, the reason I'm telling you this is when Obama is in Israel, when President Obama is in Israel in March the 20th, when he arrives in Jerusalem, that is going to be so close to the time that the Vatican's picking the new Pope. The enclave will begin after the resignation of Pope Benedict XVI. There is significant, massive biblical prophecy posturing going on.